Hey there! I am going to be comparing sweeteners today. Not artificial sweeteners, sugar alcohols. I have a few different kinds and from a few different brands. So I'm going to be comparing them side by side by putting them into a very simple peanut butter cookie recipe. I recently experienced trying to put a erythritol that was in the brown sugar form into the same recipe, this peanut butter cookie recipe, and it had to attempt it 3 times because it did not work. So I thought this recipe would be good to kind of test out each of the sweeteners, how they cook, how they mix with ingredients, and how they taste. So those are the 3 things that I'm going to be judging each sweetener on. And I'm going to be using the same measurements for each recipe. So I want to kind of go through first each of the sweeteners that I'm going to be comparing, and then I'll go ahead and show you me mixing it with the peanut butter cookie recipe ingredients. So I have Confectioner Swerve. This is erythritol. It's like a powdered sugar. I've used that for a lot of things. It seems to be my safest bet. I also have the Swerve brown sugar. I wanted to get this particularly for chocolate chip cookies. But this was the one that messed up my peanut butter cookie recipe before because it was separating the oil from the rest of the ingredients. So I want to try this other brown sugar. It's Sukrin. It's from the company Sukrin Gold, and it's a brown sugar replacement as well. So I'm going to try that brown sugar and see if I get a better result than I did with this brown sugar, because when I used the Swerve brown sugar, it separated from the peanut butter and the other ingredients and couldn't cook. It was awful. So instead of doing that same thing, I'm gonna try this one, see if maybe this brand does it a bit better. So those are all erythritol. I have this other brand of erythritol. This is Anthony's. I got this online. It sounds like a granular version. So yeah, it's a granular version. So I'll try that. It smells really good. I'll try that one. And then I also have xylitol, which this was the first sweetener that I tried using, and I already know that it does not mix well with like anything. I've tried making icing with it. It doesn't mix. I'll show you what it looks like, but it just doesn't mix well at all. I'll probably just mix that with a little bit of butter for like a frosting, just so you can see that it doesn't mix, because I don't want to waste all my peanut butter and eggs. I have a lot of eggs and I have a lot of peanut butter, but I'm going to be using a lot today. Next, I have allulose. Oh, here. It says here, allulose sweetener. So that's allulose. Also, I have monk fruit sweeteners. So I have the classic of Lakanto. So this one's monk fruit. This one is more of like a granular sugar. Then I also have this baking sweetener, which is Lakanto's erythritol blend, because it has erythritol and monk fruit. So we'll see how that tastes. Because the first time I had tasted monk fruit, it gave me a cooling sensation in my mouth. So we'll see after the cookies come out of the oven if the blend has a cooling sensation or not. So we'll see. Next up, I have a Lakanto powdered erythritol blend again, because this is just erythritol and monk fruit. So we'll see how the blends go. We'll see how the pure erythritol or pure monk fruit goes. I'm going to go ahead and start a recipe now, and I'll show you how each sweetener affects the other ingredients, how it mixes, how it cooks, and how it tastes. Okay, hang in there. Okay, so I have the first base ready. This recipe is really easy for the peanut butter cookies. It's just 1 cup of peanut butter, half a cup of sweetener, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 egg. So what I have in my bowl here is the peanut butter, egg, and baking powder. So I'm gonna mix this up, and then I'm gonna split it in half, and then add, instead of half a cup of sweetener, I'm going to make 2 different batches. I'll make one with 1/4 cup of the powdered Swerve, and then I'll make the other batch with 1/4 cup of this Sukrin Gold brown sugar. And I'll show you a comparison of how each of them look. Hold on. Okay, so I mixed up the egg, the peanut butter, and the baking powder, and it looks pretty well mixed. I'll cut it evenly in half, and then go ahead and put the sweeteners one at a time, and then I'll show you how each of them look. Hold on. Okay, I have half of the cookie dough split. I have this one with the powdered Swerve. I haven't mixed it yet. And I have this one with the Sukrin Gold brown sugar. This is just 1/4 cup. It's actually kind of dry compared to the Swerve brown sugar, so maybe this isn't going to have the same oily separation effect as the Swerve did the first time I had tried this, so I'm kind of hopeful that this actually might work. So, because I tried packing it, and it like wouldn't pack because it's just not oily like the other brown sugar is. So I'm going to mix up both of these and then show you what it looks like. Okay, with both of these mixed, they both kind of turned into this like crumbly dough, but if you pat it down and like form balls, it'll clump up. It's fine. So both of these didn't separate at all. They're just like kind of dry, but I can still form like cookie dough balls. That. And then the oil that's left on my hand is kind of minimal. I mean, you can see it, but nothing compared to what it was when I had tried this recipe last time. So I'll go ahead and put these on a baking sheet and then put them in the oven, and I'll start the next one. Okay, so I have the Sukrin brown sugar ones on this side here, and then the Swerve Erythritol on this side here. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so I have the next batch ready. This one I have the Lakanto baking sweetener, which is an Erythritol Monkfruit blend. This one, the only thing I would say, you see those white clumps in there? That's the sweetener. The only thing I would say is maybe sift this one, because it is kind of clumpy, because it's like a powdered consistency, but I guess there's some clumps in there. So in the future, if you do use this, definitely sift it, because those clumps are gonna be too sugary. And then the other one, I have just the regular monk fruit. The dough actually turned out to be like pretty grainy. You can like feel each of the monk fruit like grains, because I mean it is this monk fruit is granular. So those might be a little gritty when I cook them, but they both mixed up really well. I'm gonna go ahead and pop them in the oven. Okay, so I have the next batch ready, 2 more sweeteners. This is the Lakanto powdered sweetener with erythritol. It's a monk fruit blend. I'm interested in seeing how this one is any different than the baking sweetener, because they look pretty similar. I guess this one, it says it's powdered. It's a little more fluffy, powdery than the baking sweetener. I guess the baking sweetener was maybe a little bit more granular, but I'm interested in seeing how they'll taste. And then the other one, this one, it's a granular erythritol, It actually smells really good. It smells like almost there's like a vanilla to it, like a vanilla scent. So I'm gonna mix these two up and then pop them in the oven and see how that goes. Okay, so for the last batch, I have xylitol and allulose. I've used xylitol in the past and it hasn't blended well with other ingredients, but for whatever reason, the xylitol blended really well with the peanut butter and egg for this recipe. I think I'm going to make a icing with the xylitol just to show what can happen if it's maybe a really liquidy recipe. But in this recipe, the xylitol worked just fine, so we'll see how it cooks. And then the allulose as well mix just fine. The allulose is more of a starchy texture, so it kind of has the same texture of like baking powder. But I'm gonna pop these in the oven and see how they come out. Okay, so I'm getting ready to try these 8 different sugar alternatives in the same recipe. I want to note the peanut butter that I used because it's really amazing. It looks super odd because it's like a no-name brand. I honestly don't even know the brand, but I get this at the 99-cent store. I don't know if those are everywhere, but I get it at the 99-cent store, and it's 1.9 net carbs. So I don't know if you could see that, but it's kind of weird because it has 6.1 total carbs, 4.2 fiber, and then 3 grams of sugar. So that math doesn't really add up, but it's pretty tasty, and it's only 99 cents for this one. The other one that I like is from the Dollar Tree, and it's not as good on carbs, but you know, with this label, you're not really sure how many carbs you get. But I like it, and especially when I'm doing something like this where I'm trying a bunch of different recipes, I don't want to have like an expensive organic peanut butter because I'm probably gonna throw away most of those cookies that I have over there because they all did not cook the same, so some of them are burnt. But anyways, if you're looking for a really low carb peanut butter that still tastes good, I would check out the 99-cent store and get this. I used 4 bottles of this. There's only 10 ounces, so I used 4 of them making these peanut butter cookie recipes. So I did make 4 different batches, so I used a cup each batch, and then I split each batch so I wasn't wasting as much ingredients. But anyways, I got my cup of milk and I'm ready to try some peanut butter cookies. So the first one I'm gonna try is Swerve. This is the sugar sweetener I've been using because I can rely on it. It doesn't mess up any of my recipes, so I don't have to consider the sugar alternative as a factor of what messed up a recipe if a recipe messes up. So I use Swerve a lot, this powdered one, because it blends really well. All of these blended well, even the xylitol, which I had previously experienced with icings, the xylitol not mixing with like butter. So I'm going to try that again a little bit later with the xylitol just to confirm I'm not crazy. But this is what the Swerve cookie looks like. I know it looks like I took a bite out of it, but it just fell apart when I was taking it off of the pan. So this isn't like a particularly fantastic recipe or anything. It was just very simple. I didn't want to waste a whole lot of ingredients. So here goes. So the sugar flavor is really subtle. It's not like overtly sugary. It's not a bad cookie at all. It's just, to me, it's not sweet enough. I only put a 1/4 of a cup. So I didn't put a whole lot of sweetener in it anyways. But I know from using Swerve, I have to put more sweetener than recipes call for, because I like things sweeter than most people like it. So, in my opinion, Swerve Confectioner is not all that sweet, even though it's supposed to be like a 1-for-1 replacement. Next up is the Sukrin Gold. This is brown sugar. I'm excited for this one because I love brown sugar, and I wanted to find a good brown sugar that I could use for chocolate chip cookies, because I really feel like brown sugar and vanilla is what makes chocolate chip cookies so good. So this one did cook a little bit more than the other one. I mean, it's darker because the brown sugar made it darker, but it's also a little more burnt on the bottom. So there's a hint of that brown sugar. I'm definitely going to use this for chocolate chip cookies, because I think the more you use it, the more that flavor is going to come out. Plus, I was also thinking while I was making this peanut butter cookie recipe, I should have added vanilla to it. It would have made everything taste better, but that's okay. I'm definitely going to use this one over the Swerve one for the next chocolate chip cookie recipe I try, because I really want to get a good one. And this one tastes like brown sugar, and I only used 1/4 of a cup again, but you can still taste. You can taste it. It's not overly sweet, but it tastes like brown sugar. It really does. So I think this one's a great one. Sukrin Gold. And when I was mixing the ingredients, it wasn't as oily as Swerve's brown sugar is. It was kind of dry and more granular, but it still tastes like brown sugar. I like it. Okay, now I'm gonna try monk fruit. I haven't tried this one since I first started keto about a year ago, because it was one of the first sweeteners I had tried next to xylitol, and it gave me that cooling sensation, and it just kind of put me in a weird mood about all sugar alcohols, because I thought they would all have that cooling sensation, but they don't. So anyways, this one is the monk fruit one. Much drier than the other ones. I started kind of pushing them down more, flattening them out to make sure they cooked, but it is much drier. Yeah, so the monk fruit does have a cooling sensation, which I really hate. So I just think I can't use monk fruit because it bothers me too much. So I wouldn't use this, because with the Swerve Erythritol, you don't get that cooling sensation. So might as well use the Swerve. Doesn't give you any funny feeling. Okay, next up I'm going to try the baking sweetener, which I don't know what the difference is. This one is supposed to be an erythritol. Oh, this one has erythritol in it too. It says right there. So I guess they're all erythritol blends from Lakanto. But this one says it's baking sweetener. So I don't know what that means. But here's the cookie. Ooh, it's softer. Ooh, I like that. Wow. Wow. That one's really good. I'm really surprised. You could tell the difference in the texture of the cookie. It was more moist, which I don't even understand how they could get the sugar alcohol to do that. But this one, I feel like it does bake more like sugar does. It says it right there on it, but like that's what they all say. But legitimately, that's really good. I can't believe how different the texture is because of that sweetener. It doesn't have the cooling sensation. So, oh, it has fiber in it. So it's still 0 carbs, but it has 1 gram of dietary fiber and 3 sugar alcohol. So I wonder if that dietary fiber helps it bake more like regular sugar does, because to me that texture is like so worth it. When I try a chocolate chip cookie recipe again, I'm gonna use that one because it definitely bakes more like sugar. I'm really blown away by that one. That one's a good one. I do have one more bag of that, but when I'm out, I'm gonna order more because it really changed the texture. It was more like a cookie. So to me, like, that's a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna try the next two. Okay. So next up, I have another one from Lakanto. It's the powdered sweetener. It says it's 2 times sweeter than sugar. This is the monk fruit and erythritol blend. So try this one. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's really hard and dry. That one's kind of bland. It's a lot drier than the baking sweetener one was. I don't feel like it's sweeter. Maybe a hint sweeter, but not twice as sweet. It's really dry. So I feel like Swerve is better than that one. Because the Swerve one wasn't so dry. Next up, I'm going to try just plain erythritol. This is from Anthony's. Anthony makes a bunch of different cooking ingredients, baking ingredients. So a lot of people use it. I haven't tried the erythritol before. This erythritol smells really good. Like, it smells like it has vanilla or something added to it. But yeah, I've never baked with it before. This is what the cookie looks like. Just like all the other ones. Not terribly burnt, so that's nice. But it's dry. It is dry. Look at that. So flat and very dry. See? Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really taste like much at all of anything. Really dry, not sweet. Nothing to write home about. I think if I used more sweetener, it probably would come through more. But nothing spectacular about that one. Definitely not like that baking sweetener. I really could taste the difference with that baking sweetener. Okay, the last two are kind of strange because these were the ones that turned out the most different, and I cooked them together. So this is the xylitol one and allulose. First up, I cooked all of them for about 18 minutes, and they all started browning at the top, and some of them started burning at the bottom. But these two, oh God, fell apart in my hand. This is the xylitol one. It's very light in color. You probably can't see that because my lighting in the kitchen is so bad, but it's very light and the texture is very soft. Meanwhile, its counterpart, this was cooked in the oven for the same amount of time, right next to that xylitol one. This is allulose. It's so brown. And then on the bottom, it's pretty burnt. So to me, the takeaway from that is that allulose browns a lot faster than other sugar substitutes. So something to note, if you're trying to bake a vanilla cake and you use allulose, I don't know if all of the other ingredients would be able to thoroughly cook before the sugar, the allulose, starts to burn. I don't know. because I was worried I was undercooking the cookies, and this one did the complete opposite, just burnt. So I'll try the xylitol one first. I'm surprised it even baked. The texture is soft like a cookie. It's not really sweet, maybe like a hint of sweet. It's not bad. I might try baking with xylitol again, because I really do like it. But yeah, that texture is really good. Now I'll try the allulose one. This guy. I mean, the cookie is really soft. I mean, it kind of crumbles, but let me try. Oh my god. Wow. It's really burnt. Oh god. That's bad. So allulose might be fine to cook with, but you need to be careful. I only had the oven at 350. And none of the other ones burnt like that. So that's a good takeaway for allulose. But yeah, that's all the sweetener I have. I feel like the best one was the Lakanto baking sweetener, because that one actually improved the texture of the cookie. Which, if you're using almond flour for like a chocolate chip cookie, you need help with the texture, because almond flour is very mealy and it doesn't absorb water. It kind of just sits in it. So if you could have a sweetener that actually helps the texture, that can go a long way with other keto baking ingredients. So I really like that Lakanto baking sweetener. I'm going to get it again for sure. A lot of the other ones seemed fine. The only one that kind of fell short was this allulose, which I know a lot of people are using in like protein bars now. But you just have to be careful baking it, because it burns pretty easily. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope you could take something away from this. A lot of the sweeteners are really different, and if you use higher amounts of them, I'm sure that comes through a bit better. But hopefully this was helpful for some of you. If you have had any difficulties with sweeteners, whether you're baking with them, mixing them with wet ingredients, or whatever the issue might be, put it in the comment section below, because I'd really like to learn from your guys' experience, as I hope you learn from my experiences. Because I really don't want to make cookies like this. I don't want to. If I could avoid it, I would like to. So if you've had experience in the past where you've tried something and it didn't work, let me know, and maybe we can find something that does work for you, or maybe we could help one another. I'd appreciate the extra help, because trying things over and over and over again is really tiring, and if someone gave me a cheat sheet, I'd really appreciate it. So leave in the comment section any questions, any suggestions that you have. I'd like to learn from you, and I hope I can help you in your journey as well. I'll check the comment section, and we can, yeah, talk there. Also, if you know of any sweeteners that are really good or really bad, both opinions are really valuable to me. You can put that in the comment section so I know which ones to avoid or which ones I should try. I love trying products, so if you have any products that you've found and have really loved, let me know below, and I'll probably try it too. I really appreciate your guys' help and you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.